G'day, my name's Callum Hann. I'm here today in Tanunda in the Apex Bakery with Nipper and Corey. And guys, I want to learn a little bit more about German cake.
Well, it's very simple, not very many ingredients in it, just flour, water, sugar, eggs and margarine now. And yeah, it's just fermented and we ferment it for between 5 and 6 hours.
I think the thing for me that makes German cake really special is the topping.
Sure.
In fact, I'm fairly sure my sister used to just go massive slabs of it and just eat the topping.
Yes.
So what stage is that? How does that get involved in the process?
Once the cake is being put on the tray, it's left to rise, prove again, and then the streusel, what it's called, the streusel goes on top.
It's a great German word, isn't it? Streusel.
Streusel, yeah. And that goes on top.
Okay, and so when you do, this is, as you said, this is a plain cake, but when you add fruit to it, that's folded through the streusel.
No, that goes on top.
Fruit
goes on top before you put the streusel on.
Yeah, okay.
And might put the streusel a little bit lighter so you can see the fruit coming through.
Okay, and does the streusel almost protect the fruit a little bit from colouring up too much in the oven then?
Correct.
Okay.
And the fruit will draw the streusel to the cake as well, to the base, so that they stick together.
Yeah, brilliant. So, and then, topping's on.
Yep.
Fruit's on if you're having a fruit one.
Mm-hmm.
Goes into the oven here.
Yep. Yes.
So how long does it take to cook it?
It'll take about 15 minutes on average.
Okay.
Cut her up.
Yeah, cut her up. Beautiful. Let's try some.
There we are.
This brings back my childhood a little bit, I think. That's good. It's so kind of, it's got such a contrast from the really soft cake underneath and then that really kind of crunchy, short topping as well. It's good stuff. Now, Esma, I went to the Apex Bakery this morning and they showed me how they make their traditional German cake.
Yeah.
I hear you're a pretty mean baker.
Oh, I try.
Yeah, you're very modest baker too. Would you be able to tell me a little bit about, because it's interesting to see how a bakery does things different to at home. So
yes, well, mine would be only in a very small way to what they would do up there. Yeah. Well, what do? Get your flour ready and set your yeast for a start.
Yeah.
Put that in a bowl and put a bit of sugar in with it, some warm milk and a bit of flour and let that rise.
Okay.
And then you beat up your eggs, melt your butter.
Okay, so butter, not margarine?
No, butter. I use butter in all my baking.
For everything?
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing we were talking about with the guys up at Apex was the crumble topping. What spices do you put in yours?
Just a bit of cinnamon.
A little bit of cinnamon, yeah, so
that's
classic.
all. Yeah.
And do you ever incorporate fruit into your German cake?
I put fruit on the top of the cake.
Okay, yeah.
And then sprinkle the streusel over the top of the fruit.
Yeah. So I call it German cake. That's what I've known it as. What do you call it German cake?
I call it German cake, yeast cake, streusel cake, or whatever.
do you know the German word?
Deutsche Kuchen.
Deutsche Kuchen.
Yeah, that's just German cake.
Okay, German cake directly translated, or Streuselkuchen.
Yes.
What do you reckon the best way to eat it is? Because I remember growing up, I'd sort of just lather on a bit of butter or margarine.
Oh no, I'll just have it just plain.
Just plain?
When it's nice and fresh, you don't need anything else on it.
Yeah,
well, cinnamon on top of yeast cake is nice. It doesn't matter what fruit you use. You can use apricots, apples, plums, whatever. Prunes are nice.
So whatever's
too.
around at the time, or whatever you got preserved and ready to go.
Yeah, that's right.
So, Streuselkuchen, German cake,
Deutsche
Kuchen.
Yeah, well, many names for it. We've spoken to Esma about this already, haven't we?
We have, and to Nipper.
And to Nipper, indeed.
So, I guess we need to start by making a bit of a sponge, which is a name for the start where we actually activate the yeast. So a bit of flour.
Yeah, so about a third of what we've got there.
Third of flour.
And it doesn't really matter, does it? Because it's all going to go in.
This is kind of just the starter, if you like. A little bit of sugar, and the yeast. We're using dried yeast. If you're using fresh yeast, you just need to double it, but dried yeast is fine. And then we're going to add enough milk to make that into a soft, almost like a batter, like a pancake batter, is what we want it to look like.
Lovely. And so the milk's better if it's at room temperature?
Everything's better if it's room temperature.
Just to give that yeast a little bit of
absolutely. Kick along.
Bit of a helping hand.
So probably about a third of the milk, just like we did, third of the flour and third of the sugar.
I reckon, nice.
We can always add a bit more.
Add a little bit more.
It doesn't matter if it's wet. The whole idea is to allow the yeast to activate quickly and it gets kind of bubbles.
Yeah.
That's what we're after. So I reckon you actually can have
does need a little bit more, doesn't it?
Yeah. because we're going to add eggs and butter later. So,
yeah, to wet it up a little bit more.
So, and there's nothing critical about this. Just get that to there, and once it's all mixed in, we're going to leave it for about an hour or so until it starts to bubble, and then that's it. So we're back to this German cake. So you can just see in here, you can see the little bubbles.
Yep. Yeast is just
where
coming
the yeast
alive
is starting
a
to come
little bit.
alive.
Yeah.
So now we just need to make the cake batter up. So we just need to put the eggs in there.
Lovely.
Stir them in.
Great, so that's 4 eggs.
4 eggs.
And we need a little bit of melted butter as well.
We'll do. We'll put the sugar in as well here now. A little bit of spice as well. There's some nutmeg and some cloves. Put our melted butter in there.
Oh, look at that.
So we just put that in like that.
So you could probably do this with a whisk if you wanted to
Yeah,
help
of course
it.
you could. Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll go in with the milk as well. So we're making this batter. This is going to come alive now, and then we're going to add the flour and the sultanas. So it's as
Lovely.
simple as that.
Smelling great with it.
Yeah,
It's got a small amount of spice again, but it's
Yeah.
really smells lovely.
So you're going to beat that until it's nice and sticky.
Yeah.
Get the lumps out. So I mean, this is the traditional favourite here. I mean, every bakery has its version of it.
Yeah.
And I think we're doing the right thing. We're using butter, not margarine.
Yeah. So it's got to be butter or lard.
I think it's got to be butter.
No margarine.
No.
Yeah. And so this is the cake batter itself.
Yeah. And we're going to make the streusel once this has come up.
Yeah.
Sultanas in. I'll just break them up so they don't go in one big clump.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. So now we set this aside again.
Now we set it aside again in one place
Up.
and let it double in size. So that's what it has to do now. So we're now back to the dough you had earlier.
Yeah.
So it's now been sitting there for an hour or so, and it's you can just see the sponginess inside there.
Look at that.
So it's really risen nicely. You're going to take about half of each in each pan.
Yep.
And so you can just pat that down nice and
just
level
a
in that.
grease and lined
Absolutely.
baking pan here.
Yeah, just that goes flattened out. So get it nice and evenly.
Lovely. And then we can sit this
we
away again.
just put it in a warm space for
spot.
about 20 minutes. So for the streusel, we've got some flour
Yep.
and sugar. And then we're just going to add to that the spices.
So we've got nutmeg and cinnamon.
Cinnamon, that's the ones.
Yep.
And then we're going to put the butter in and rub that to a crumble.
Rubbing in.
So that's
So no food processors allowed?
No, well, no food, no. It was a bit hard in the 1860s. And once that starts to take up, we'll add that cream in there as well. Otherwise, if you put it in there, it's going to go a bit stodgy to start with.
So cream's an
I'll give you a hand
interesting.
as well.
Yeah, lovely. Cream's a really interesting ingredient to add here. I've never added a cream to a crumble like this.
Do you remember when we saw at Nippers in the bucket there, how it was almost like a beaten batter rather than a crumble? Because I was expecting to see like a crumble like you see on an apple crumble, but it's not. It's more of a
it's a lot wetter than that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more cakey, and I think that must be where the cream comes in.
Yeah, okay. It'd be interesting to see how it transforms from the crumble to how much the 2 tablespoons of cream makes a
It's only a
difference.
little bit of cream, but it's a bit like when you put an egg into a pastry mixture. Suddenly, it just brings the whole thing together.
Yeah.
So. You're right. Food processor would have been easier. Add the cream.
Yeah, just a little bit of cream.
And then we just bring that together, and you're going to find that's going to make it. Yeah, see how it
It's
sticks.
just sticky. Yeah.
That's it. And when you pack it together, it really holds a bit more.
Lovely. Okay. Well, I'll get some of this egg wash. So just a beaten egg
Yep.
and a little bit of cream, and then paint this all over the top of our cake that's just risen up now. Then we get the streusel straight on top.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
So we're going to go. And from what I'm gathering, it's kind of like this.
Nice and generous. You need lots of crumble on it.
I like some crumble, yeah. And straight in the oven.
Straight into an oven. Yum.
Beautiful. Must be about ready, I reckon.
Let's check it out.
Look at that.
Oh, the
That
colour
looks
on that Streusel.
Fantastic. That's fantastic.
I'm very happy with that.
I'm very happy with that. That looks fantastic. Lovely golden colour. Lots of lovely texture to it. Well, I reckon if you grab those two corners there, and I grab these ones,
Yep,
we can just lift it out. Beautiful. I reckon we would have won something in the show.
We should have totally entered this in the show. What have we done?
That's amazing. Fantastic. So, Callum, you want to do the honours?
Oh, gee whiz.
Look at that.
Let's have a little look. Oh my goodness.
That is perfect. Well, we have to take another slice off the taste.
Yeah, let's try a little bit.
That cuts so well, and you can just smell that yeast. It's just no wonder, yeast cake or German cake. I know it's a little bit too hot. We shouldn't be eating it straight out of the oven.
It's still steaming.
I'm sure that Esma would scold us for doing this, but
let's try a little bit. I still think this would be beautiful pan fried, but that's just me.
I tell you what, though, if thank you, Esma, and thank you, Nipper.
Yeah,
for
all the advice and the
giving us
tips. 'Cause
This looks fantastic.